Welcome to the Ordinary Doula Podcast with Angie Rozier, hosted by Birth Learning, where we help prepare folks for labor and birth with expertise coming from 20 years of experience in a busy doula practice, helping thousands of people prepare for labor, providing essential knowledge and tools for positive and empowering birth experiences.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Doula Podcast. My name is Angie Rozier and I am happy to be with you here today. We are sponsored by Birth Learning. So today I want to give a little slice into the life of a doula, kind of talk about what it is like to be a doula. So I have been a doula since 2003 and I really don't know anything else at this point. But wow, it has been an incredible journey. It's such an amazing role and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's an honor to be invited to be with people at such an incredible time of their lives, and I can't think of anything better. It's an incredibly rewarding role, and I'm so fortunate that I get to do it. And it is hard. It is an incredibly hard job. And I don't know if people think of all the parts of how it's hard to be a doula. Let me talk about one of the most challenging parts is to be on call. So those are two cute little words, on call, right? On call. But when you're on call as a doula, now there are ways to set up so that you're not always on call, but historically and traditionally, I'm on call 24/7 and have been since about 2003. So that means if I am needed, I have to drop everything in my life and go. If it's my kid's birthday, if it's a special holiday, if it's middle of the night, if it's the weekend, if I just got back from a birth, like being on call, you are at the mercy of something that is totally outside your control. It's also outside the control most of the time of your clients that you're on call for. That's important to remember. But that can be tough. It can be really tough, and it can be hard on sleep. Right? It's probably terrible for my future health, but I've lost incredible amounts of sleep during my life. Easily 1 night, 2 nights, sometimes in rare cases, 3 nights, but that's rough. It's hard to lose sleep. It gets easier. A lot of people talking about how do you do that? And you kind of, build an endurance for it. I was in my early doula career for a while. I did long distance endurance events. And so I ran marathons and did a lot of long triathlons and things. And so I could do hard stuff for a long time. And honestly, I think before I became a doula, I was running a lot of marathons. And that, I think, mentality has followed into doula work. I can do hard things for a long time. And it's okay. I'm going to be on the road running these 20 miles or whatever for X amount of hours. I can do that. So it's a funny little side gig for me. I guess that helped me with endurance. Food. Sometimes your work is so intense that you don't have time much to stop and take care of yourself. Sometimes you cannot leave the room or leave the person's side for hours. Sometimes it's hours. People talk about their lunch breaks, oh, your nurse can't come in. She's on her lunch break. I'm like, lunch break? That's cool. They get a lunch break. Every once in a while, for sure. There are times given certain situations where I can go grab lunch or step out for a minute, use the bathroom, those luxury items like that. But food, sometimes I have lived on graham crackers and saltines, what feels like for days sometimes. I always carry a little bit of food in my doula bag, but sometimes I'll burn through that in a little while as well. So part of being on call is being available, of course, all the time. So this is available by phone. You have to always have your phone charged. You have to always have your phone near you. You have to always have your phone turned on. And I always talk about my phone. It's like a kidney. It's always with me. So I tell my clients, I'm like, yep, my phone's always with me. I sleep with it next to my bed. I have to keep the volume up at night. I can't turn on don't disturb. Like, there's none of that happening for a doula. You have to be available all of the time. And you have to look at your phone. You have to respond to your phone. I don't know if you have people in your life that don't answer texts or calls. I do in my life, and that's frustrating. I don't think it's very considerate. But I also come from a space in my life where I have to answer every call and every text because it might be a client. Babies can come at any time, day or night, year round. So being available by phone, being available physically. So there have been plenty of times where I did not take a family little trip, day trip, weekend trip, going 2 hours away, 3 hours away, 4 hours away, going to the beach, going camping where there's no reception. Like, there's been plenty of times where I've stayed home from that because I need to be closer than 2 hours away. Sometimes, depending on what clients I had going on, it was okay to be 2 hours away and I could probably get back in time. Other times, sometimes the entirety of labor is 2 hours. So depending on my client load at the time, I've skipped lots of family trips. My mother-in-law, where we lived for a long time, she lives 2 hours away. And I can't go see her very often or spend the weekend because I'm on call 24/7. You also have to be physically capable, if that makes sense. Like, or even if you wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes it's a very physical job. I ask people, doulas I've worked with, I like a physical birth more so than a boring birth. Like, birth can be really boring at times. I'd rather be doing something, doing hip squeeze or knee pressure, giving some counter pressure on the knees. I'd rather be helping a mom move around, being active than just be sitting there. But being physically available to your clients. I have held some crazy positions for a long time before because that's what my client needed. There was one time, I'm glad I was probably in my 20s during this birth, because this kiddo, this baby just graduated from high school. But this particular mom, I remember, awesome client, helped her have a couple of babies. And I was the perfect height for her to hang on all of her weight. She hung around my neck and shoulders for about 3 hours. I remember the shoes I was wearing, and I had to plant my feet kind of more than hip width apart, just plant them and just bend my knees ever so slightly. And she would hang on me. Her partner was too tall. The bed didn't have the right dynamic about it. So it was me. She hung on me for 2-3 hours. That was a good leg workout for me that day. I have held funky positions supporting people or offering comfort touch in the water before. Sometimes I've gotten soaking wet. Sometime there was one particular birth where I was holding the mom. She was in my lap, sort of. I was kneeling and she was kind of leaning back on me. And that was we were pushing. She was in the pushing phase. So that was the only spot that she could push and that she was comfortable. And I was terrified what my legs would be able or not be able to do after I got up from that position, because it was a while. I couldn't feel my legs. And this mom, that was her only spot that she could cope. So that was physically challenging. My knees are fine. That was over 10 years ago, and I'm still able to do all the things I need to do with my knees. Another thing is being emotionally available all of the time. So as I'm going about my day, doing other responsibilities, interacting with other people in my life, my kids, friends, I have to, again, answer my texts. And sometimes I have to respond in a very thoughtful, carefully crafted way to offer emotional support to my clients. So my poor family, my poor people around me, I'm like, hey, just a second, I got to really pay attention to this text and answer it very thoughtfully and appropriately. And being emotionally available also, it doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I have to show up 110%, be emotionally available, completely available, and completely present in every way, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually too, sometimes for my clients, regardless of what might be going on in my life, regardless of whether or not I'm exhausted, regardless of whether or not I'm sad or something tragic has happened in my life. My clients can never feel that. They can never know that, because you know what? It's not about me. This is about them. 100%. This is about them every single time. So being emotionally available. I recall one time I was driving this wasn't a birth, thank goodness. But I was driving to a prenatal visit, and I had an apprentice with me. I love to work with apprentices. And I had a particular apprentice with me. She went to several births with me. So we had gotten to know each other pretty well at this point. And we were driving, And as we were driving to this appointment, I got some devastating news, shocking, devastating news, a very unexpected loss of a friend of mine. And I was shaken. Like, I was in the car with my apprentice, totally shaken. And we were about 10 minutes away from our appointment. And my apprentice doula'd me, which I was so grateful for. I had my moments, had to have them quick. And then I had to pull it together and go into my appointment and focus on this couple and their needs as they prepared for their birth. So that they were the main focus. Sometimes I have left tough situations in my home or with my family where things are just heavy, but your client can't feel that as you show up. So shout out to your doula. Give your doula a huge shout of gratitude for the support she's given you, because she might be tired, she might be sad, she might be stressed out, and hopefully you never feel that, because she is 100% available for you. Another thing that's difficult, and I hear this, we train doulas as well, and a lot of doulas, I've talked to, dozens of doulas throughout my career, and one thing that's very challenging is birth trauma. Whether you yourself experienced birth trauma, and then you're exposed to births, that can be challenging and be triggering, or you as a doula are witnessing birth trauma, because guarantee you're going to witness some birth trauma. That's heavy. That's really heavy. And sometimes it's too heavy for folks to continue on in the work. So being exposed to birth trauma can be challenging. It can be really challenging. And I teach a portion of this in my birth doula training, how to handle that. And thank goodness I found some great ways to handle that throughout the years, because it can be difficult. I myself experienced very little birth trauma personally. When I was giving birth, I had fabulous positive birth experiences, but I know that's not everyone's case. And you also, flip side of that coin, there's birth trauma. There's also birth triumphs. Like, you get to see the successes, the triumphs, and the incredible positive things about birth too, over and over and over again. I think one of the things for me that's the most difficult is witnessing injustices. And this could or could not be tied to birth trauma, but sometimes I'll witness injustices. And a lot of times these are microaggressions against my client, the birthing person or their partner, from hospital staff. And it's subtle. Like, these things are subtle. And a lot of times my clients don't even notice. They don't know any different or any better. As a doula, I get to work in such a broad range of environments and hospitals and settings that I get to see the best of the best and the worst of the worst. And my client only gets to see their experience. So I really love and appreciate when the staff at a hospital is kind, is respectful, treats my client with compassion. And I talk about this in another doula podcast, but compassion is contagious. So I like to demonstrate compassion for my client, and oftentimes the staff will pick up on that. But sometimes the most difficult things are when they don't, right? When they're not showing kind and compassionate care, and when the staff shows injustices to my client. That's super hard. And it's my job to protect them from that in whatever ways I'm able. And there's lots of different ways to do that. And also, doulas work outside of systems. I don't know if you realize that or not, but as we're in 2024 right now, there are a lot of initiatives, and have been for a little while, about getting hospital doula programs up and running. That's a whole nother bag of tricks we could talk about sometime, and how I feel about that. But by and large, doulas are outside of systems. And so we have an independent doula, whether she works for an agency or in a partnership or by herself, but she goes into a system where she's not wanted. Insofar as they did not create the space for her. You have to create your own space in systems as a doula, and you have to go into the system that didn't make space for you and make a space for yourself, whether that's in this particular hospital, this particular labor room with this particular birth team. But doulas have to make space for themselves. And I'll tell you what, you're swimming upstream almost all of the time. There have been dozens of births that I have to just hold my head up high and focus on my client, support my client. It might make me look an interesting way to the staff. Sometimes it might create some conflict or some friction, which I try my very best. And usually I'm very good at buffering that from my client so they don't know. I might be treated like crap for a little while and take that for my client. And that actually happens pretty rarely anymore, especially, I go to hospitals where I've been going for years. I know the staff, I know the nurses, I know the providers. But if I go to a new hospital or a hospital that has a pretty poor culture around whatever, whether it's doula support or patient support, supporting people in general, like there's some hospital cultures that make that pretty tough. So you swim upstream, and you're working against a system that may not even want you there. Also, keeping positive, like you have to keep your energy positive, and that requires a lot of energy. Birth goes so many different ways. It can be long, it can be exhausting, it can be painful, it can be devastating, it can be traumatic. And the birth doula's job is to keep things positive. It takes a lot of energy to do that, to be the energy in the room that's positive. And I'm not saying we use smoke and mirrors about that, but we can't fall into a puddle, if you will. Like we can't have any of our emotional needs surpass those of our clients and those that we are serving. So sometimes that's hard. Sometimes that's really hard, and it takes a lot out of you to create that positive hope and positive energy, or to be able to highlight the positive in a very challenging situation. Sometimes you really have to dig for positive things. And this doesn't just stop when the baby's born. A lot of times when there's challenging births, that's going to inform my job into the postpartum, and I might keep in very close contact with some folks, some of my clients, after their birth for a while because of the situation and whatever it was that was challenging to them. So that sounds rough. It sounds like I've just told you all the challenging parts of being a doula. But would I do it over again? Yes. This last 20 plus years, I would do it over again. I count myself so fortunate to have a role and a job, a sustainable income, doing something I'm passionate about, something that I love. Not everyone gets to do that. And so I count that as a huge bonus in my life. I would do this 100 times over. So that's what it's like to be a doula. It's an incredibly rewarding role. The connection you have with people is amazing. Like it's a deep connection. It's a long connection. It's not just a quick touch point, but you get to really know people. And I'll tell you what, some benefits that I've enjoyed is what I've learned from my clients. Whether they had a fast birth, an amazing birth, a positive birth, a hard, challenging, long birth, whatever that was for them, I learn about humanity. I learn about the potential of people. I learn about the capacity of the human heart, the human mind, and the human body. I learn about connection between partners. I learn about that incredible, strong bond that can exist between moms and babies. I get so much back from supporting my clients. That's part of the reason I can do this 1,000 times over. And I've done this thousands of times. And when I'm in a birth room, when I'm there with my clients supporting them, I've thought this many times over the years. No matter what I'm missing in my own life, no matter what's getting neglected in my own life, whether it's sleep, food, kids, family, events, I always have this thought, there's nowhere else I'd rather be right now. There's nowhere else I'd rather be, because regardless of what's going on in my life, these lives, this is one of the most important things that can happen in their life today. And I get to be a part of that. And I hope to make that a better experience for them. So what an honor it is for me, an honor and a privilege to be able to do this work. So to all my clients, recent, long ago, repeat clients, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be have a supportive role, some small part in your experience. Thanks for what you have taught me and what you've provided for me, and the gift that is in my life. So that's a little bit about what it's like to be a doula. Thank the doulas around you. Shout out to any doula that you know in your life. Give them a hug, give them some chocolate strawberries, something. But they have a role, an important role, and it can be hard, it can be rewarding, but they have an important role to play. Make sure you appreciate them for that. And I appreciate the opportunity I've had to do this for so many years, and hope to keep doing it for many more. It's something I absolutely love. All right. That wraps it up for what it's like to be a doula. Now I'm just reflecting on my career and really enjoying that. So we hope to see you again next time on the Ordinary Doula Podcast. Please join us again. We love to cover every kind of topic about birth, breastfeeding, preparation, all the stuff. We love it all. Again, my name is Angie Rozier. This is the Ordinary Doula Podcast. We are hosted and sponsored by Birth Learning. Go check us out at our website, birthlearning.com. And I hope you have a great day. Go out and do something to connect with someone else, even if it's a stranger. Get some eye contact. Give a smile, and spread a little bit of joy and love in our world today. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you for listening to the Ordinary Doula Podcast with Angie Rozier, hosted by Birth Learning. Episode credits will be in the show notes. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many aspects of giving birth.